No, let's try it again.
No more restarts. Sorry.
Fuck you.
What?
This is Winging It, the somewhat whimsical, certainly whirring, decidedly wonky, seldom weighty, endlessly well-intentioned, and wildly witty show about music where one knows what's coming and the other doesn't. And this, of course, happens in between both proper to ensure you can spend lots and lots of time with us, because that's what we like. And we don't want you to go away, so we keep reeling you back in with new episodes. We're trying to do less replays, more episodes. Sometimes life gets in the way, but we are trying to avoid all, it sounded weird, all life, at least life getting in the way. So this time, what shall we discuss? Well, I've made a decision. We're going to talk about something called memoirs. So lots of musicians write memoirs, and this is going to be the wildest reveals from said memoirs. Ooh.
Memoirs. My initial reaction is that this is like, people's diaries after they're dead or something like that. But no. That, I hate that stuff.
Dead diaries.
Yeah, dead
It's
people's
like
diaries.
Anne Frank? I mean, what are we talking about?
Well, not
here?
Anne Frank, but I mean, people's letters to their wives and shit like that. I hate that.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, if we're talking about memoirs that somebody published. Here, buy my book. This is my life story. Then different story. Yeah, that could be interesting. Very interesting.
Well, let's get started and see if it, in fact, is interesting. I believe it to be interesting, but the experiences of a rock star or pop singer can sometimes seem larger than life. They get to travel the world, perform for thousands, party with groupies. By the way, this is provided to us by Ranker.com, so thank you, Ranker.
Well, yes, we use them frequently.
We love them. However, many musicians will attest to the hidden, more difficult aspects of living a life of fame. Many, and we do mean many, develop alcohol or drug addictions to different degrees. Some singers got so high that they lashed out at people they loved, drained millions from their bank accounts to pay for their addictions, and one even snorted their own father's ashes. So let's take a look here. What do you think? So Steven Tyler admitted he was in a sexual relationship with a teenager.
I was going to say a dog, a teenager. Yes, yes. Unfortunately, once you tell somebody something like that, that kind of haunts you. You're haunting yourself, But
yeah,
I mean, I guess congratulations on the frankness. I don't know, something, but anyway. But yeah, I had heard that.
But we go a step further. He even became her legal guardian.
Oh, ouch.
Okay. You can learn a lot about a person based on how they respond to poor choices from the past. Some people will become accountable for their actions and own them, while others will apologize. Some will gloat. So in Tyler's 2011 memoir, Does the Noise in My Head Bother You?, a rock and roll memoir, he openly admits to having a sexual relationship with a minor. In his words, she was 16. She knew how to nasty, and there wasn't a hair on her. I was so in love, I almost took a teen bride. Okay, little vomit came up. I went and slept at her parents' house for a couple of nights, and her parents fell in love with me, signed papers over for me to have custody so I wouldn't get arrested if I took her out of state.
Oh, my. Okay.
Those quotes are being used against Tyler in an ongoing lawsuit where Julia Holcomb accuses Tyler of sexually assaulting her as a minor.
Oh.
Okay, really disgusting. So maybe you keep that shit to yourself. First of all, don't do it.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do it, maybe I don't ever want to know. It's pretty nasty.
Yeah, I don't want to know, even though they filter out there somehow and get you. I don't like hearing these stories, but
Here they are.
Here they are, yep. And they're the ones telling
in
them,
their own words. Grace Jones didn't enjoy what?
No, I'm saying Grace Jones. I mean, there's no end of stories Grace Jones could tell, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
She didn't enjoy taking cocaine the usual way.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So she inserted it.
Yeah, okay, we got you. I've heard of that, too, with alcohol and cocaine. Interesting, very interesting. Yeah, not surprising, though.
Coke was never my drug, she says, although there are some who might be surprised by that. Being so closely associated with Studio 54, the assumption is that I was a complete cokehead fiend. If I'd taken as much cocaine as rumored, I wouldn't have a nose. Actually, I preferred to put a rock up my ass rather than snort it. Sometimes I might get blown up there one way or another. Then you get a very wonderful sexual feeling. if you do that. Stick a tiny little rock, you know where, and it's got to be clean, very pure. And you put a little bit of lotion and you take it, and apparently it really helps a lot.
Yeah, so that's
it's very graphic.
Free advice via this memoir, you know.
So yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering, are these things that you would disclose? First of all, are these things you think, even if you were a Studio 54 goer in the 70s, would you do that? I do not believe I would do that.
It's funny how she doesn't consider that doing cocaine, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean,
it gets into your bloodstream, okay? That's the bottom line.
You just, I mean, she still has a butt. She wouldn't have had a nose.
You can stick pills up your behind and get high. Yes,
I guess you can, yes.
I've heard of, I hate to be graphic, but I've heard of vodka-soaked tampons and things like that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. At least it was on a TV show anyway. It was on CSI, you know.
Absolutely.
But I mean, theoretically, yeah, the bloodstream is the bloodstream. You know, it's going, if you, I guess it gets in you.
Apparently.
You stick it in an orifice. I never tried that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I've never tried it anyway because I'm a goody two-shoes like that, but I know people who have, and they've done drugs in a myriad of ways, whether that's like snorting, shooting, you know, bumping up your butt, whatever, you know. Do your thing.
Head only. I'm sorry, head only. No shooting for me. You know?
Head only? Okay. So Ozzy Osbourne, he admitted to doing something to his wife during a drugged up rage. What do you think he did?
Now you see, because I'm an absolute gossip hater, I don't know that. Let me see. I don't watch those shows. Something bad.
Thank you. He nearly ended his wife's life.
Yeah.
So my mouth was instantly full of this warm, gloopy liquid with the worst aftertaste you could ever imagine. That's what he said. Wow. So apparently, kind of what's leading up to it is from his 2011 memoir, apparently a very good year for that, I Am Ozzy. He adds more detail to some of the infamous events, most notably the biting the head off the live bat, as we know. That's what he says, you know, his mouth was instantly full of gloopy, gloppy things, whatever. And then throughout the book, he also gets into less sensational and more grim aspects of his life. This included a night he almost strangled his wife while he was high on a cocktail of drugs. In an interview, Sharon recalled the incident, describing how Ozzy turned calmly to her and said, "We've come to a decision that you've got to die."
Oh, shit.
He woke up in jail with no memory of the encounter, and she did not press charges. I am never closing my eyes around that fucker again.
No.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, seriously, how close do you have to get, you know?
When he looks at me and he says, "We've decided," who's we, first of all?
Yeah.
We've decided you've got to die. I'd be like,
The royal we, you know?
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
We
I would
have
be
decreed,
out.
you know, yeah. It's
I
hard to
would
get
be
past,
out.
we have decided we're going to kill you, yeah. You have to die.
No memory of the incident.
No, I didn't know that.
And by the way, likely story, no memory of the incident, wink, wink, whatever. Anyway, crazy. I'd be like, I'm out. I'm going to sleep in a locked room. That's what's going to happen. So Keith Richards, what is the weird thing that he did?
That's got to be the ashes thing, yes. Father's ashes.
He did indeed snort his father's ashes.
I've seen interviews with him, so that is true. Yeah.
To be fair, it wasn't totally intentional. Richard revealed in his 2010 book, Life, his dad just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. As I took the lid off the box, a fine spray of my father's ashes blew out onto the table. I couldn't just brush them off, so I wiped my... Brushed? Let me try that again. I heard it. I couldn't just brush him off, so I wiped my finger over it and snorted the residue. Ashes to ashes, father to son. Now, what would you do in that scenario? I would probably try to wipe him into the vessel that he came from.
Yeah, I mean, in a case like that, you're not going to get it all, but whatever ashes end up in the vessel, that's him.
I'm not going to snort him.
The rest is just got to go in the trash. I'm sorry.
I think of all the things you could do. I'd probably just try to wipe him where, just
get
him.
Exactly.
I just don't. Well, okay. I don't know what to tell you.
Snorting would be way down the list.
Yeah, snorting is going to be. I'm going to say like. I'm trying to figure out a time when that would ever cross my mind. It would not. It would never, ever. So Britney Spears claimed that she had, an abortion at the request of then boyfriend Justin Timberlake.
Now that's in her memoir, right?
Wow, yes, it says...
it's not one of those unauthorized things that I hate.
In her 2023 memoir, The Woman in Me, Spears reveals intimate details about her life that she managed to keep out of the tabloids. This included
kudos for that, by the way.
I guess. This included a surprise pregnancy she had early on in her career, as well as a subsequent abortion that Spears said still haunts her to this day. She said, it was a surprise, but for me, it wasn't a tragedy. I love Justin so much. I always expected us to have a family together one day. This would just be much earlier than I'd anticipated, but Justin definitely wasn't happy about the pregnancy. He said we weren't ready to have a baby in our lives, that we were way too young. If it had been up to me alone, I would never have done it. And Justin was so sure that he didn't want to be a father. And she also opened up about her famous media moments. I'd been eyeballed so much growing up. I'd been looked up and down, had people telling me what they thought of my body since I was a teenager. I'd smile politely while TV show hosts leered at my breasts, while American parents said I was destroying their children by wearing a crop top. As for her infamous conservatorship, Spears didn't hold back. I became a robot, but not just a robot, a sort of child robot. The conservatorship stripped me of my womanhood, made me into a child. They wanted me to be wild on stage, and they told me how to be, and I was a robot the rest of the time. Damn.
Now, you know us here. We are Team Britney, though.
Oh,
we
yeah.
have spoken about this before.
Absolutely.
We think Britney Spears was mistreated, certainly.
Absolutely.
And, however, that part there about publishing the story about Justin and the abortion and everything, I'm sorry, when you're naming someone's name, I just hope he was party to that, that he didn't mind that, because it seems that's pretty rough. I mean, I don't know if people ought to do that stuff. I'm kind of against that.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think when you do a memoir and you're doing a tell-all on yourself, I think,
of course,
there's going to be fallout.
If you said some mystery person, they would figure it out anyway.
We all know. Yeah. The last quote that we have here is, she also discusses being locked up in a rehabilitation center during her Vegas residency. The tech drawing my blood would be flanked by a nurse, a security guard, and my assistant. Was I a cannibal? Was I a bank robber? Was I a wild animal? Why was I treated as though we were about to turn the place down and murder them all? She describes her father, Jamie, as an alcoholic, someone who declared bankruptcy, who'd failed in business, who terrified me as a little girl. And, says that after he took control over her decision-making, he chillingly told her, I am Britney Spears now.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Terrible. I mean, like I said, we've always felt that way. We've always been on
We've
her
been
side.
a free Britney, and she's free, but Britney is damaged, man. She's so damaged, and I just hope she can come back from it. But I follow her, and it just makes me sad. I worry. But anyway, Bono alleged that his pro-peace stance made his family a target by the IRA. Wow. While being the frontrunner for U2, Bono has not shied away from being a bold supporter of the peace movement. And some people apparently did not like this. In his 2022 book, Surrender, 40 Songs, One Story, he detailed the numerous times throughout his career where different groups and terrorist organizations threatened him and his family.
Wow.
One of these include the IRA, a militant group in Northern Ireland. U2's opposition to paramilitaries of all kind had cost the IRA valuable fundraising in the U.S., so obviously that was a problem for them. Bono's family was reportedly at risk another time from an Irish gang, and he also wrote, a famous gangland leader in Dublin had been planning to kidnap my daughters. Jeez. The gangsters' people had been casing our houses for several months and developed an elaborate plan.
Wow.
Just for being about peace, because it went against the IRA's movement, obviously, and cost them valuable funds.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, it's even indirect, Wow.
Yes, it's crazy. It's interesting,
What a ugly, scary story.
Right. It's so ugly and scary. And the thing is these are the parts of being a star we don't know and we don't necessarily want to understand. And also parts about being just a human that we don't necessarily want to know or kind of understand. And some of it is parallel to what we go through. And some of it is like, oh my God, that's what you go through. It's kind of horrible.
Yep.
Sly Stone, one of the most influential musicians of the 70s, went from living in a Beverly Hills mansion to a van on the street. Did you know that?
I did know that, actually, yeah, because they were having, raising funds for him and everything.
He was a powerhouse in the 1970s music scene. He and his band, of course, Sly and the Family Stone. He helped define funk rock while creating their own unique style of R&B rock. So apparently there was a memoir. So this book was called Thank You for Letting Me Be My Mice Elf Again, a memoir, came out in 2023. Many music lovers were excited to see what he might reveal about his life and career, and he didn't hold back. He spoke to how his life revolved around drugs and how his career struggled after the band broke up in the 80s. Wow, Sly could not save himself from his own addictions. His troubles escalated to the point where in 2011, Stone was living in a camper van. However, he now has a home in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I remember some musicians were getting together to help him and everything because, I mean, he's a true funk legend, rock, pop legend.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people got together to help him, and hopefully he's much better now. Love Sly.
Yeah, he seems to be doing great. I just, it's so interesting because we think, all these people are doing so well and they made all this money. I mean, like MC Hammer, right? I mean, made tons of money and then ended up with no money because everyone has their hand in your pocket, right? You have a posse around you and you're paying everyone's salary, because I'm just saying if I was this famous person, are you kidding? I'd bring everyone along for the ride. I would. I'd bring all the people that I love, all the people who wanted to come along for the ride. I'd find them roles, right? But again, there's a danger in doing that.
Yeah.
So, it sounds so great in theory, but look at all these family businesses, that broke down, right? Including Whitney, everything.
He's got a home now. That's good. He's probably a simple man, happy man. He's a legend, Jim.
Absolutely.
Soundtrack of my childhood, Sly. It was a significant part of it.
Love it. Absolutely. Miles Davis admitted to physically assaulting his wife. Miles Davis was extremely influential in the jazz world, obviously, as we know, become one of the most well-known trumpeters in the music industry. And Davis volunteered this information in his 1990 book, Miles, the Autobiography. He said, "I loved Frances so much that for the first time in my life, I found myself jealous. I remember I hit her once when she came home and told me some shit about Quincy Jones being handsome. Before I realized what had happened, I'd knocked her down. I told her not to ever mention Quincy Jones to me again, and she never did." He continues to explain how hitting his wife affected him. "Every time I hit her, I felt bad because a lot of it really wasn't her fault, but had to do with me being temperamental and jealous."
Wow.
Sadly, Frances was not the only romantic partner to experience such violence at his hands.
Wow.
I mean, so again, is there bravery in coming out and saying it? I guess maybe you just have to get it off your chest. But again, it doesn't make you look good. He was already known for being super temperamental and kind of a pain in the ass. And, I don't know. But it's never going to work when you hurt anybody like that, when you beat your wife or wives beat on their husband, any of that stuff. It's just disgusting, and there's no excuse for it.
Yeah, you don't know whether to commend people who come out and say just for that fact alone or not,
Yeah.
But I don't know. They shame themselves. I don't know if that's, But it is hard to know.
It's hard to hear this stuff because you're like, you want to open that?
No.
You can if you want to, and click it around. It would be so great.
I agree, Fuck, it's huge, man.
It's huge. I know. You didn't notice that?
Oh.
I don't know how you're going to do that.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a very... What goes in must come out.
Fucking enormous lozenge, man. I mean, it was a candy, actually. Same thing,
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. But again... I don't know. I can't call him a hero for coming out. I just can't. I just say, okay, he came out and said, I hit my wife, not once, but repeatedly, because she spoke a truth. Quincy Jones was super attractive, and unfortunately we just lost him, but Quincy Jones was very attractive gentleman.
That's another person, yeah. We were talking about people we lost. Quincy Jones, legendary producer Quincy Jones, composer. I believe he did the We Growing Up, first came to be, really familiar with him through the Roots soundtrack,
Yes.
And I have to go back and listen to that again because he's a great composer, great producer.
Absolutely.
Might have got Billie Jean wrong, but he was right about Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Yeah.
I love Billie Jean. I don't know what's wrong with you.
No, I mean, he got it wrong. He didn't think it should have had that long instrumental intro.
Oh, that was so wrong.
Michael got it right
That's
that
right.
time.
Michael got it right. That's right. They had a big fight about that.
I think Quincy was the one who insisted on the strings at the beginning of Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Which is
perfect.
Which is absolute brilliance.
My God.
And Michael didn't. Well, Quincy was right.
He was right.
Way right, yeah.
They're both geniuses, so... Oh, this one's going to kick your butt if you haven't heard about it. Mel B, a.k.a. Scary Spice, had to do 2 lines of coke every morning to get through filming The X Factor.
Wow.
She explained how only a few weeks into her being on the show, she could feel her depression really closing in. This was from her 2018 memoir, Brutally Honest. So to help her stay focused on the job, she turned to cocaine. I had a routine. I'd wake up in the morning and snort 2 lines, and I would pray, God, I'm sorry for taking cocaine, but please, God, help me get through the day. I was ashamed of what I was doing, but I felt I had to have it. The cocaine only made my mental state worse because, as a lot of people know, cocaine makes you even more paranoid. I was probably taking 5 or 6 lines a day before and after work.
Yeah, okay. No, I did not know that part of it. I know it's she's been embroiled in some legal stuff and everything, but I try to avoid that sort of thing. I did not know that fact.
Yeah, I don't know why you try to avoid it. I'm not sure what that is. I mean, if it's out there, it's for you to, if you read it, you can just choose to discard it. But I mean, she put this out here. I mean, the stuff that she's putting out, and the other stuff is public record. If you are being sued or you're, if you're being accused of something, it's public record. So it's going to be out there. And of course, she's a celebrity, so they're going to talk about it. This one is about Lisa Marie Presley.
Yeah.
Whew, are you ready for this?
Yep.
She kept her son's body at her home for 2 months after he died.
Wow. You can do that?
I don't think you can. 27-year-old Ben took his own life in July 2020, and in the aftermath, his body was kept at his mother's home. In Presley's memoir, From Here to the Great Unknown, released after her own passing in 2023, the singer's daughter, Riley Keough, talked about how much the loss of Ben impacted her family. And Presley kept Ben's body so she could get her thoughts together. She continued, I think that it's very common in the way we handle death in the Western world to keep it very quick and not really allow a grieving process. The body is taken away, the doors are shut, and you don't see anything. It's not the way that it's done so much in other places. So for 2 months, she kept Ben's body on dry ice in a cool room in her house. On one occasion, she had a tattoo artist come to her home and give her tattoos in the same places on her body that Ben had on his by taking the tattoo artist into the room and showing him where to place them.
Wow.
Riley recounted, we all got this vibe from my brother that he didn't want his body in this house anymore. Guys, he seemed to be saying, this is getting weird. Even my mom said she could feel him talking to her saying, this is insane, Mom. What are you doing? What the fuck? Presley then had a service for Ben in Malibu and buried him in Graceland. While talking about how her mother might react to people questioning her decision to keep the body in the house, if Mom were here, she'd be like, yeah, whatever. I don't care what people think. That's crazy. They can go fuck themselves. Okay. Fair.
Now, that's from Riley Keough's book, right?
Yes.
I would love to know how she pulled that shit off. I mean, usually, isn't the state or the county or somebody going to step in and say, where's the body? We have to dispose of that thing,
I really wonder how that worked out. And maybe we need to read the memoir to know. So a few more here. I mean, there are so many, but this one's kind of interesting, I think. There's actually a few interesting. So I'm going to go to this one about Bruce Springsteen. And it's kind of weird, but it's interesting. He didn't learn how to drive a car until his mid-20s. Isn't that weird?
I didn't either, actually. No, I think I was a little bit older than
mid-20s? Really?
No, of course not.
It turns out that Bruce Springsteen didn't learn how to operate a getaway car until he was in his mid-20s. And in his 2016 book, Born to Run, he details how much he didn't know what to do behind the wheel of a car. So where did the connection to cars come from, right? Because he sings about cars. He shared his book that as a young boy, he'd beg his parents to take him into the car during thunderstorms, and as he'd be protected from lightning on rubber tires. It's true. It's very cute. So, yeah, that's very interesting. And you'd think because, he sings about cars and cars are the things and pink Cadillacs and all that shit, but who knows? So, the last one I'm going to talk about is, while still a teenager, Anthony Kiedis helped his father smuggle cannabis through the airport.
Oh, wow.
Perfect.
That's actually pretty tame. But
he was a teenager, though.
Yeah, that's
probably
true.
Very weird. In his 2005 memoir, Scar Tissue, the singer wrote how he went to live with his father in California when he was in 6th grade. His dad's ex-girlfriend just happened to start dating Sonny Bono, and Bono became friends with Kiedis' dad. Soon he became a role model for Kiedis as well.
Sonny did? Mm-hmm. Nice.
However, Kiedis' father's main endeavor at the time was smuggling weed to the Midwest. So while in middle school, Kiedis was roped into the family business. He says, naturally, one of our bonding experiences was to go on his pot smuggling escapades. I became his cover for these trips. We'd take 7 giant Samsonite suitcases and fill them up with pot. At the airport, we'd go from one airline to another checking these bags because at that time, they didn't even look to see if you were on that flight.
Oh, shit.
So we'd land at a major airport, collect all the suitcases, then drive someplace in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and deal the drugs.
Wow.
So, yeah, family business, indoctrinated into that family business early. Nice. Not. So, wow. So those were some really strange reveals.
That's the most LA shit I've ever heard. But that's
Right?
that's Kiedis, though, you know.
Well, I think all of it is kind of shocking and crazy and weird. But again, these are things they elected to tell us.
That's true. That softens it a bit. I mean, if you want to tell me, I'll listen. It's like,
or if it's public record, it's going to be out there.
If you're doing a show about it, maybe a podcast or something. Yeah.
Or if you get arrested, it's public record, right?
Yeah.
Arrested, pulled over, put in jail, all that stuff, whatever, accused of something.
Especially if you put it in your memoir.
Go to court, right? I'm going to say some of the things that, we have R. Kelly, who's crazy, and then we also have P. Diddy recently.
I was going to say, let's not forget Diddy. Yeah, that'll be another story.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
I'm not rushing to judgment on that. I don't know anything.
Oh, I rush to judgment for sure. Absolutely. They found like tons of lube, like literal cubic tons of lube and stuff.
Yeah, a couple thousand bottles, I think.
Yeah, so no big deal.
Oil,
Yeah.
you never know. You might need a little baby oil.
Sure, that much. I mean, are you bathing in it every day? You're slippery. And
not suggesting I might have gone to a Diddy party at some point.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so I'm rushing to judgment. He's in jail, so I'm not rushing to shit. He's in jail. He's been accused. He's been found guilty, and more people keep coming out. So whether he writes a memoir from jail, I don't know. Would he bring this up? Maybe, maybe not, to declare his innocence, which he's done before, but doesn't look good. R. Kelly, as we know, is found guilty. Will he write a memoir? I don't know, but I have a feeling both might omit these facts from there. So,
well, the title "If I Did It" is taken. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. If I did it, that's right.
You'll have to think of something else. To
all the girls I've trafficked before, I think maybe that's the Diddy thing.
There you go.
Yeah. So who knows, right? We'll see.
Into a rap song.
That's right. I agree.
Big comeback thing.
Yeah, exactly. More women, more kids, more problems, that kind of thing.
Yep.
More kids. So anyway. We'll see what memoirs come out, and hopefully in the future we'll have more tasty tidbits, more admissions of craziness, more admissions of foul play. I don't know. Anyway, so I hope you found this to be fun. I thought it was fun and interesting and bizarre, and what a wild ride.
I mean, we've done about 9-10 winging it's tonight, and it's still fun. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun.
It's always fun.
All right, well, now that we're done with that, my memoir might end with this.
Let's fly this coop.
This has been Winging It, a presentation of Birds of a Feather on What the Flock Radio.